Hi, Esther. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Angela. And hi to all those who are locked on. Angela. And I want to say also a special afternoon and shout out to my member of parliament for Port of Spain North St. Anne's West, the Honorable Stuart Richard Young SC. Thank you, sir, for your service and the continued work. I saw you in a function there with the elders and things. You know, you're a favorite to the elders and them, and this is once children and elders like you and love you, you're good to go. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Sadie. Hi, Pascal. Hi, Carol. And everybody that will tune in, well, they tune in today. Today's the Friday before the PNM internal election, almost a general, yes, because they still looking like a general. First it Lily. So let me start one time. So today I want to send shout out to the Christian community. Hi, Joyce. But before I do that, let me say the pledge. I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and all those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country, Trinidad and Tobago. Hi, Judith. Hi, Glennis. So I want to send out greetings to the Christian community, Catholic community. Today is Corpus Christi. So I just want to read you a little on what is Corpus Christi. So in Trinidad and Tobago, Corpus Christi is a significant Catholic holiday known as the feast day of the body of Christ, celebrating the belief in the real presence of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. It's observed on the Thursday following Trinity Sunday, which itself is the first Sunday after Pentecost. A key tradition involves Eucharistic processions through tongues, and also traditionally a belief that doing so will ensure a good harvest. Corpus Christi, which translates to the body of Christ in Latin, is solemnity in the Catholic Church commemorating the Eucharist, the sacrament of the body and blood of Jesus. In Trinidad and Tobago, the celebration includes church services, blessings of the land, processions where the consecrated host is carried through the streets. The holiday has a strong connection to agriculture, with many farmers traditionally planting crops on this day, particularly pigeon peas and corn, believing it will lead to a bountiful harvest. Corpus Christi is a time for communities to come together, celebrate their faith, and strengthen social bonds. Food plays a role in the celebration, with traditional dishes like boiled chicken with rice, arroz dos, and ovos moles being prepared. I don't know what those things are. I am, if that is what they cook, I am learning something today. So let me say it again. Boiled chicken with rice, arroz doce or doce, and ovos moles. I don't know what is that. But again, greetings to the Catholic community again on the celebration of Corpus Christi. Hi Val, hi Sarah, hi Candace, Val is Startwells, and hi Hadara. In the list of the independence candidates for the upcoming election, please vote wisely. Okay, I hear you. And we will get to that soon. So, yesterday, Trinidad and Tobago, hi Halef. Our senior men's team would have played. Our coach is Dwight York. Our celebrity coach, but more than celebrity, he has done so well. Put our name again on the map as a player coming from Tobago. Our own Dwight York, who played with Manchester United. And that was a big thing back in the day. Really, really big thing. So we played Haiti. And I'm opening to see what's happening here. Hi, Maria. So I'm seeing 20 hours ago in the news there, Soca Warriors draw 1-1 versus a 10-man Haiti in Gold Cup. The Socorros failed to capitalize on conquering a 10-man Haiti squad and were forced to settle for an unsettling 1-1 draw in match 2 of their Group D CONCACAF Gold Cup. Gold Cup tie at the Shell Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas on July 19th. Despite Haiti losing key defender Jean-Kevin Jouvernay via red card in the 39th minute, Trinidad and Tobago failed to capitalize on their player advantage and was stifled to an uncomfortable, potentially tournament-ending draw result. They now sit in cellular position on the ground standing with just 1 point after by a hefty 5-0 margin in their opening fixture. TNT head coach Dwight York made 6 changes to his starting team to face Haiti as Andrew Raymond, Rio Cardenas, Nathaniel James, Andrew Rampasad, Dante Seeley, and Levi Garcia replaced the 6 starters from the U.S. match. Garcia also wore the captain's armband in place of the bench Kevin Molino. In the opening period, Haiti dominated while TNT struggled to string together passes for the entire 45 minutes. A neat flick from captain striker Levi Garcia in the 6th minute to Nathaniel James saw the one-time shot from top of the box go high and wide. Likewise, Haitian striker Leverton Pair also had his long-range right-footed effort go wide 3 minutes later. And at the end of all this, we came out 1-1, and we will see how it goes forward. So I'm just looking to see who scored the goal. Let me see the 3 minutes. First chance, and the jump on from Ting, I'll take the shot that I had. He continued to press and bam, bunking, I'll give him a minute, a minute, ting. Oh Lord, they ain't gonna tell me who scored the goal. Soon after, long thing, so him, ting. Oh, 40 minutes. Oh God, only writing about the negative. Oh God, tell me who's scoring now. We have written it. But anybody know who scored the goal? Look now. However, check by Bam Bam, a resumption minutes later. Strike back, launch, ting. Oh God, 57 minutes. Made 3, ting. Spicer the ball and ting. Soon after, Manlo lifted ting. Oh Jesus. However, listen to me now. Watch me now. A long editorial about this thing, and I can't see up to now who scored the goal for me. I'm tired. Congratulations on raising the best result and all them football people and all that, or they go work it out. Yeah, but 1-1 the Haitian game after coming off a 5-0 defeat America. So we'll see how that goes. Jesus Lord. It was like pulling teeth. I told you I'm investing 11 days of care, and this was 19 hours ago in the Guardian. Unicoma Trinidad Limited recently partnered with United Way to improve the physical and learning environment at Success Leventhal Secondary School. As part of the broader Day of Caring initiative, the company has contributed computers, fans, plans, and a school crest with employees and partners volunteering to install these items. The United Way Day of Caring initiative is a signature volunteer employee engagement event. It allows corporate partners to engage their employees to give their time and energy to selected projects. The range of projects can include improving schools and NGO buildings, beach cleanups, gardening, and delivering care packages to elderly homes. Unicoma thoughtfully selected Success Leventhal Secondary School as part of the company's ongoing commitment to community development, particularly in underdeserved areas. For over 30 years, Quartz, a brand of the Unicoma group, members of the Leventhal community to actively participate in national cultural events. This recent investment in Success Leventhal Secondary School will further benefit the community, including families and friends of the street orchestra membership who are connected to the school. The full project scope included light electrical works and installation for over 40 fans in classroom, making the learning spaces safe and more coordinated and more comfortable. Then you had donation of 6 computers to enhance digital learning opportunities for students, installation of a new school crest in the front wall, reinforcing school pride, planting a variety of plants around the schoolyard, creating a vibrant and inviting environment. So I want to thank Unicoma, that company, partnering with courts for the good work they have done, and I hope other companies come on board and also help schools in under-reserved communities, other than just waiting on the government to help these children feel as they are part of something and that people do care about them. So that was my good news segment there, right? Hi, Donna. Hi, Rebecca. So let me continue as the thing start. So I'm seeing here that Minority Leader Kelvin Morris has something to say about the greatest benova that UNC gave to Tobago, and the 2 Tobago guys who down here from TTP or TPP feel Tobago gets something when Tobago really get nothing. So let's listen to this. Hi, Patricia. Yes, from the Virginia family. And I saw somebody from England. I do go back and read the comments that you will leave. And I saw somebody from England was looking on. I can't remember the person's name. I should have written it down. So I hope you're back on, sir. So listen to Calvin Morris, please.
Hey folks, I want to address quickly a headline I saw in the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian media this morning. I'll try to be as brief as possible. So this headline is Tobago gets an additional $134 million for the media review for 2025. And this headline is quite misleading, and it is nothing more than the UNC and the TPP playing smart with foolishness, which the Guardian and other news media and journalists bought hook, line, and sinker. What are the facts? The facts are that Tobago has in fact received its lowest media review allocation since this TPP administration would have come into power in 2022. So in 2022, under the previous PNM government, they received an additional allocation during the media review of $60 million. In 2023, they received an additional allocation in the media review of $100 million. And in 2024, they received an additional allocation of $50 million during the media review. Fast forward to 2025, we were told on Monday by the Minister of Finance that Tobago will get an additional $34 million out of the $3.143 billion, which represented 1% of the allocation nationally, and which really represented $1 cent of every item. So as they were being sold short. And of course, the cry in Tobagonians were that Tobagonians are still waiting to win. What did we get from this arrangement, having seen the TPP supported the UNC in Trinidad? And therefore, they are now trying to save face. And how do they try to save face? By spinning the numbers. They have now attempted to pad a loan that the THA would have collaborated with and approved by the former PNM central government from the CAF, right? That is the Caribbean and American Financial Institution, for works to support coastal works in Tobago of over $15 million US, which adds up to, converted, is about 104 or so million TTD dollars. They have taken that allocation, that loan, and added it to the actual supplementary allocation of $34 million, and is now saying to Tobagonians, look, we have given you a gift of $134 million. And the fact is, you cannot add a loan to the supplementary allocation, because a loan is something that Tobago has to repay. It is a debt to Tobago, and it has to be repaid in the future. Therefore, it is quite disingenuous, it is quite dishonest, and it's quite hypocritical for them to purport that loan as some gift to Tobago when it is actually a debt that Tobagonians would have to pay back out of its future allocations. So I want the media, especially because the media seem to have gotten very lazy, that you need to do your journalistic assessment and analysis before you take words from politicians and run with it as if it is a gospel truth. The truth is, Tobago has received from this UNC its lowest supplementary allocation coming out of the mid-year review since this TPP administration has come into government. The truth is, the TPP is ashamed, because they know even when they were getting more under the PNM, they used to make a lot of noise. The chief secretary called it fiscal wickedness when they received 60 million, 100 million, and 50 million. But all of a sudden, they are trying to sell this $34 million insult as if they have received some blessing. This is not a blessing, it is in fact a disrespect to Tobagonians, and Tobagonians must not be okay.
Yes, good. So that is Minority Leader there, Calvin Morris, explaining it to Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago that they didn't get all that money. Part of it's a loan they have to pay back. In fact, they get less money than they used to get under the People's National Movement when they used to be cussing the People's National Movement. Now they get less under Kamala and they say nothing. But when the PNM in office, everybody have mouth. When Kamala in office, nobody says nothing. I want you all to listen to this gentleman who's speaking here and see if it makes sense. And if it makes sense to you, we should all be concerned.
It was alleged Trinidad and Tobago that Kamala Persavicesa and the UNC government plans to reintroduce the old $100 banknotes that was removed out of circulation somewhere in 2019 under King Christopher Rowley and his PNM government. Trinidad and Tobago, it's alleged that it is coming, that those old notes are going to be reintroduced back into the system. It's alleged that is why they're holding off on the new polymer banknotes that was already paid on it. Folks, I remember this move by King Christopher Rowley left a lot of us in the feeling who had money hidden wherever you had it hidden. Even persons who had money in the banks who couldn't leave the United States of America to come change what they had to change. A lot of losses, a big hits by many citizens also who were honest citizens who had money also in the mattress. Now, this major move, Trinidad and Tobago, by the PNM government and the then Prime Minister King Christopher Rowley was about national security. When it comes to money laundering, links to crime, the drug trade, the human trafficking trade, guns and ammunition, and corruption, and Trinidad and Tobago, we don't forget, counterfeiting, most important. And I'm here to argue what we already know. No matter how much time you change it, they're still counterfeiting it. So we are hearing that the UK, Canada, the United States of America, and the French is watching the moves it's alleged of the UNC government who is in talks with higher ups towards bringing back those old notes. Now, we can't say if it is about protecting their friends or their family or their financiers, it's alleged, who have stocked up on these old banknotes. And the deal was, when UNC win, everybody win a lot of money in the elections. My. Where were they getting that money? Those old dollars will be coming back, as I said, into the system. So, persons who lost, we're talking about big players here, under the PNM government, when that money was removed, will now be able to recover all their losses under this UNC government and alleged prime minister. Now, folks, we need to remember when Venezuela flooded their economy with dollars, let's see what happened to them. They crashed. Now, that they don't flood the market. But if we use all those old dollars and flood the market, we are walking the same road with Venezuela. High inflation, money with no value, and money that many who were in plenty black market setups, drug deals, human trafficking. We're talking about the criminals here, the criminals, and not just the normal criminal, but the white collar criminals will be back in business under this administration. Folks, we need to be very, very careful and watch this government with an eagle eye on every move they make, especially financially. Now, all you need to understand, Trinidad and Tobago, we saw Kamala Persad in the Labor Day dance. And all you need to understand as the working class in this country, they are using the unions to protect themselves. As the Prime Minister said, Trinidad and Tobago, hold strain until they find the money. So it's alleged the money that they are finding is the old dollars that's supposed to come back into play. Again, I am saying to you, it is true. Allegedly, criminals who were taken out of circulation, shut down their business because of Rowley. She will now be putting them back into action, because I'm very sure there are millions upon millions of old $100 notes here, just waiting for this opportunity in the hands of criminals. Have a good day, folks.
Right. I needed to play the whole thing so you all to hear, because I don't listen. A lot of you all, well, not my peoples and stuff, but don't listen, because this is where we end up with a UNC back. And we should be telling you all, a UNC back in office, we should be telling you all, anytime the UNC get back into office, we always had this opinion that they're going to bring back the old cotton $100 bills. Let us see. And to add to what the gentleman said, based on what you would have said here, you all remember when the now Prime Minister said, let me find it here. Let me find it here, because today we have a talk, Sunday's election. Kamala said, we will find the money. And this was, hi Rosemary, hi Trevor, hi Sandra. This was the for the 15th or the 4th month in the Guardian, and it says here, the headline, Kamala, we will find the money. Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar says a future UNC administration will fund its promised initiatives by eliminating government's waste and prioritizing people over privilege. She made a pledge at Boop Singh's Park in Pinal, deep within the Superior constituency, as she addressed a charged crowd and outlined an ambitious state of social, economic, and infrastructural reforms the UNC intends to roll out if elected. We will redirect the PNM's Eater Food money to support land for the landless, to repave our roads, to implement a comprehensive traffic alleviation plan, and to supply water in your taps, she said, prompting resounding applause. Persad-Bissessar argued that many young families remain trapped in a cycle of poverty because they cannot afford to buy land or a house. Well, I don't know if you're trapped in poverty or you have money to buy land and house, I don't know. Her speech followed comments by Energy Minister Stuart Young, who questions how the UNC planned to finance its broad agenda. He accused her of offering empty promises without detailing a funding strategy. But Persad-Bissessar fired back. Where is money to pay workers? No, there is money to pay workers. The government has money for everything else besides paying workers, she said. She accused the PNM government of squandering over $530 billion with little to show for it, alleging that the country's wealth had been funneled into privilege and patronage. And again, we had a list of about 60, 70 things and more that the People's National Movement would have done. Even the parliament is sitting on in now the Red House, that was refurbished by Christopher Rowley's administration. Those buildings are only Savannah, the president's house. Personal taxable allowance raised from 6,000 some to 7,500. If you're working for 7,500, you don't pay tax. Anything above that, you pay tax. By the end of the year, if you're paying less than 90,000, no tax. All those things were there. We had the increase in the decrease in VAT to 12% or something like that. And then we had the increase on 2 occasions of the minimum wage. And the list goes on and on. So it is wrong to say that the government didn't do nothing, PNM government. But I could tell you why that probably happened. Because the PRO and the SMO, the People's National Movement, sit on their ass and they do nothing. That is according to the opposition leader now, who said, she didn't call them out, she said officers on the executive fall on the job. Who is the one to bring those news to the people to see what the government is doing? The SMO and the PRO. So among the project Persad-Bissessar promised was listen to the word, the reopening of the Petrotrin refinery and a reduction in fuel prices. She claimed that PNM had devastated the South when it shut down the refinery in 2018 and accused Young of misleading the public about the closure. Now, one of their own people who does support them, however, in my opinion, Professor Roger Hussain, he agreed with the closing of Petrotrin because it was bleeding this country dry in debt. And coming out of it, although the refinery was closed, people got their money, big money. I ain't getting into that aspect. While the refinery was closed, there were 2 other areas, the production and exploration, which became Pari and Heritage. Heritage continued to pay back the debt of the refinery, but they don't ever talk about that part. Yeah? Okay. But again, where was the PRO and the SMO to bring that information out there? You know what's bringing the information? Dominic Romain, Jennifer Frederick, and all those who call in on radio, all those keyboard warriors on social media. Addressing the cost of living, she promised to remove value-added tax from 7,000 food items. She continued that crap again, and you can never see what she's talking about. Saying poor families were struggling to put food on the table. She also committed to reintroducing free laptops for secondary school students and free tablets for primary school students to give children the best possible opportunities. Again, the laptop distribution never stopped. It was done in a different way. But where was the PNM PRO and the PNM SMO? PRO, Public Relations Officer, SMO, Social Media Officer, to be telling people those things. Okay? To curb school bullying, she said the UNC government will expand student support services, offer universal free kindergarten education, and place police officers in school to protect staff and students. Offer universally free kindergarten education. We don't already have from nursery to tertiary free education. Where was the SMO on the PRO when she told these things to debunk it? It wasn't there. I come in to debunk it just now. She vowed to expand the Children Life Fund to help sick children, and promised to boost businesses by reducing foreign used car prices and ending abusive traffic fines. The Children Life Fund was under her, and it ended up being corrupted. They sent children to a hospital, substandard hospital in Colombia, and the children died. She bringing it back. That ended up in real corruption with who take money and who will take the money, right? We have an economic transformation plan, including growth poles in the East-West corridor manufacturing housing. We have put affordable houses and easy access to financial. We will put affordable houses and easy access to financial services, she said. Now, under them, the cheap houses that were built for people like me who are low income and that kind of thing, they turn it into houses that is only people with money could get. They did that. They did those things, but or they fall asleep, then business, and they come back again to talk and recycle the same conversation over and over. That would have liked to do, a lot of platitudes and a lot of sugar talk, and they fall for that when behind the scene is something different. But again, where was the PRO and the SMO to treat with these matters? She also promised to allow law-abiding citizens and all of duty police and prison officers to access legal firearms. Our pledge included to return to the expansion of gate funding, restoration of the school feeding and transportation programs, and the introduction of stand your ground and home invasion legislation. And as I said already on countless occasions, we already have home invasion laws. The problem with it is, what is different than stand your ground? In stand your ground, you just have to feel somebody want to do you something and you go do them back, shoot them. You don't have no obligation. Even if there's a place for you to go or to get out of it, there's no obligation, no matter how safe it is for you to do that. Instead, on your ground, shoot and kill. So why couldn't they just use home invasion and beef it up? Why you need to go to that drastic laws of stand your ground? They want to follow the Florida model, which has shown that it has not been working because gun crimes has escalated, homicides where a gun have escalated. It is making Florida a gun state where the targets are people of color. Right, so I wanted to read that because this gentleman now spoke about, in his allegations, they're going to bring back the cotton $100 bills because everybody keep asking them, economists keep asking them, all these plans all they have, where are they going to get the money? Or energy supplies are depleting. You're not taking taxes. You refuse to collect taxes where you get any money. So what a man say and what happening here, I wonder if it's true, because there was $5 billion of the old cotton notes that did not come back in. Okay, right, so let me continue. This was to support what the man just said. So I'm seeing here somebody wrote something about the media review. Excuse me, hi Cynthia. Excuse me. This was in the Guardian. It was yesterday. Hi Jenny. The media budget review has become a fixture on the financial calendar of Trinidad and Tobago because it allows the Minister of Finance to provide an update. The thing only jump in, an update on the performance of the economy in the middle of the fiscal year, which will be in March to April. Previous ministers of finance have also used the opportunity of the review to provide their best performance of the economy in the second half of the fiscal year. In 2025 mid-year budget review, the 2025 mid-year budget review was delivered yesterday on June the 18th mainly because there was a change in administration on April 28th and a new Minister of Finance, Devendranath Thakur, obviously needed time to come to terms with the Herculean task he faces in balancing the expectation of the population with the realities of the TNT economy. The fact that TNT production of main energy exports of natural gas, crude oil, and petrochemicals are all down from their peak levels. The prices of those main exports are also generally lower than in the recent past. These two elements, the reduced production and prices of the country's main exports, mean that any Minister of Finance delivering a mid-year budget review in June 2025 will be battling on the proverbial sticky wicket. In a presentation that spent a great deal of time bashing the opposition, when Mr. Thakur finally turned to providing a current status report on the TNT economy, he said, "The update of the state of the economy is that we are in crisis because of the actions of those opposite," referring to the opposition People's National Movement. There are no circumstances in which a Minister of Finance should use the word crisis or bankruptcy to describe an economy that he or she is in charge of, unless this is meant to prepare the country for imminent and critical discussions with the International Monetary Fund, the global lender of last resort. TNT current Minister of Finance did provide the country with an estimate of the overall fiscal deficit for the 2025 financial year, which he predicted will be 9.7 billion. On how TNT would fund this deficit, Mr. Thakur said, "Given the state of the economy at present, we are forced to fund this increased deficit principally by our borrowing on the local capital market, as well as from drawing down on existing multilateral facilities." Unfortunately for the country, the Minister of Finance provided no detail of how much of the 9.6 billion he expects to fund from borrowing on the local capital market and how much from down draws from the multilateral financial institution. In delivering the first post-cabinet news conference of her second term in office on May the 8th, Prime Minister Kamala Prasad estimated that the fiscal deficit in March 2025 was $4.42 billion. At that time, she also said the deficit will be funded by withdrawing $1.76 billion, US $260 million from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, the HSF, drawing down on the available $2.7 billion in the overdraft facility at the central bank, refinancing $1.1 billion in the treasury bills, and borrowing $1 billion on the local market. 5 weeks later, the fact that Mr. Thakur outlined fewer details than his Prime Minister on the critical issue of deficit financing provides the public with little comfort. As one of the most important ministers in the new administration that promised to do much better than his predecessor on the critical issues of transparency and accountability, Mr. Thakur has a responsibility to provide the population with news. Although we're in a mess, those are words used when you're going to IMF. Critical, bankruptcy, all those things are terms that you use, and as they're going to get the money other than borrow from here, borrow from there, borrow from there. They already lent Tobago money, Tobago have to pay it back. But this thing about the cotton nose, let me tell you something how serious this is. You remember this country had signed on to the FACTA. I think that is follow the money and something that you link with other international countries in which you share information coming out, from bank, money laundering, criminal activities, all that. So when the guy called those countries, I think he said France, America, Canada, and some other country. If perchance that really happens where these cotton bills come back in that was out of circulation and pull out the system because of that, those countries, we will be violating, in my opinion, whatever agreement we would have signed to share information when that situation arises. So we get ourselves in a position that when they used to tell me on a PNM, you go eat grass, I think really they were predicting what will happen under their government that we go really eat grass century. That's just an opinion I'm sharing. So let me continue. Roger, that labor jackass, Roger. Roger calls on this government, the UNC government, is opening. This was in the Guardian because yesterday was Labor Day. So this was in the Guardian 20 hours ago. Roger calls on the PM to rescind Rowley's 1 million pension. Union leaders celebrate PNM's defeat. The Joint Trade Union Movement, JTUM, returned to Faizabad yesterday with Ansel Roger declaring victory in Labour long struggle to remove the People's National Movement from government. Standing on the JTUM platform at Charlie King Junction, the Oilfield Workers Trade Union President General called on the new administration to now claw back the 47% salary increase granted to the former Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, which allows him to receive 1 million in pension. And it is not 47%, it's 20-something%. Prime Minister Kamla Persad later joined hundreds of unionists who had earlier braved the persistent drizzle and grey skies yesterday, taking shelter under umbrellas or proudly walking through the rain as they assembled at Avocat Junction for Labor Day March. The procession swelled in numbers compared to previous years, moved along Faizabad Road towards Charlie King Junction, pulsing with the beats of drum and chants for justice. It was more than just another rally. It was a statement. Union members waved coquet brooms in open mockery of the PNM's election sweeping time. A cricket bat labeled UNC knocked a ball marked PNM, symbolizing a clean political dismissal. Bellmen, Moko-Jambi, flag bearers added carnival-like energy to the march, laced with both satire and seriousness. The movement drew strength from a wide cross-section of civil society. Amongst the marchers was Scrap Iron Dealer Association President Alan Ferguson, Faizabad Chamber President Anjani Jairam, New National Vision political leader Farid Abubakar, the Patriotic Front leader Makela Pandey. They were joined by government ministers Dr. Rudan Muninal, the Ventura Tanku, Ravi Rataram, Dr. Michael Dowlat, Dr. Lakram, amongst others. On stage, Roger reminded supporters of the long 47% salary increase with hefty pension benefits. They imposed on workers the most unjust 4% over 6 years without consolidation of COLA, he said. He claimed that under the PNM, thousands of workers were retrenched and forced into financial despair. It was 9 years of pure hell under the PNM government. That is how they cared, he said. Roger turned his attention to the cabinet note signed off by Rowley that allowed his pension and salary increases before leaving office. You see that 47% Rowley gave himself and the increase in pension for Siotion. We have to find a way to take that back from them. They did not even work 4%, but give themselves 47%. Again, 47% is a lie. Not only that, Kamla Persad Bissessa, all the politicians, whether the senator, governing senators, independent senators, members of parliament, and over 900 senior public officers, when Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley signed off on the SRC report, I think the 120-something, if I'm mistaken, it was for all those workers. But they don't ever say that. They make it sound as if as though he personally signed for his personal pension. But I'll continue. Where the thing going? The whole thing going, yes? Give me a minute and it closed off. What is this? Right. Give me a minute. Right. The government has already tabled legislation called the Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Act. which would only allow prime ministers to serve a year and up in office to receive pension benefits. So far, the only former prime minister who did not serve a year in office is Stuart Young. He served from March the 17th to April the 28th. Roger claimed that the PNM was still attempting to stymie new governance, accusing some of its appointees on state board deliberately stalling the government's operation. Public Services Association President Felicia Thomas picked up the baton, claiming that the PNM hypocrisy was on full display in Parliament when its MPs questioned the new government promised 10% wage increase for public servants. And again, this deal is lying. It was not a 10% increase. It was the starting point of the negotiation from 10%. You see what they're changing and shifting the conversation? I will come to that just now. Comrades, tell them to stay out of workers' business. They did not care for the last 10 years, so do not pretend to care now, Thomas said. She argued that the PNM was banking on public dissatisfaction to create friction between workers and the new administration, but she claimed optimistic, asking how the government could pay 10% on a budget that catered for 4%. So, comrades, we expect that in September-October budget, 10% will be coming our way. Again, you see how they're lying? It is the starting point of negotiations. Will start at 10%. It never say you're going to get 10%. You have to negotiate. I'll comment to that. She also called on workers to uphold high productivity and discipline to support national development, saying the days of workers' victimizations were over. Thomas credited the UNC-led government with already saving an estimated 10,000 jobs since coming into office. A pack of crap. But what I want to get to, let me get this quick. These people go, oh God. Nowhere on the platform, you heard the Prime Minister say that she's going to instruct the CPO to immediately start negotiations with unions. Nowhere I heard her say that. If they so care about workers and the 10%, how come there was no mention? The only people talk that is Roger and them. It just came like when, you remember when Tangu said that the people who paid the property tax, that they will get back the money. And when it come out to Canada, she say, who tell all of that? Me? I tell all of that? Ask you where you getting that money from. Just want to get this, eh? Canada steals Roger Thunder. You remember that? Okay. So them keeping, just now I want to get this. Them to keep talking about, and them, it's only them alone. Just now, the thing here, you know. Right. Nowhere did Kamala Persad say on that platform that public officers going to get no 10%, nor did she instruct her CPO to start no negotiation. But Roger want to talk. That was telling he's a labor jackass. You want to talk about money and rowdy money and all that? Ask him if his salary every month, OWTU, is $90,000 a month. Ask him that. Ask him how he come about getting that, if that is what he does get. Ask him where he working. Ask him which bargaining unit does he represent. Ask him if he retire already. Ask him how he does get his salary paid. If it's not through the membership money that does pay every month. Ask him that. But only remember this. Kamala steals Roger Thunder. That was 2014. When Oilfield Workers Trade Union President General Ansel Roger was a foreman at Trinma Limited, there was an accident where he exhibited gross carelessness and negligence in the execution of his duties and almost killed a colleague. In an attempt to cover up the near-fatal incident, Roger sought to bribe the injured employee to keep his mouth shut by offering him $300. Roger also gave false testimony during an investigation into the matter. The committee which investigated the incident recommended the maximum disciplinary action commensurate with the findings be implemented against Roger as a result of his endangering a colleague's life and then trying to conceal it. The OWTU also pressured those present to give false information on the event of the investigating committee. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar made this revelation during yesterday's sitting at the House of Representatives at Tower D International Waterfront Center, Port of Spain, as she read an internal audit report from TRINMA, dated November 1999. While Persad-Bissessar was making those disclosures, Roger was leading the joint trade union movement, JTUM, National March Against Corruption. Persad-Bissessar said the massive march bust. Right now, I'm told that the massive march, that the numbers of Laventille West, right now I'm told that the massive march that the member for Laventille West spoke about bus, the massive march that you planned, even though your leader may have gone to join them, that has been extinguished, and that march has been extinguished, the Prime Minister said, by Kamala Persad-Bissessar. And it will distinguish itself as being the most advertised march that just went totally quick and bust, she said. Persad-Bissessar said on Sunday, September 9, 1999, an incident occurred on the platform 22 at TRINMA, where compressor unit number 25 was restarted while a casual employee named Irvin Tulsi was in the cooler box. Tulsi's right ankle and foot were injured in the rotating blades of the compressor fan. The compressor was in for approximately 2 to 3 minutes before it was shut down. Tulsi could have been killed. Roger was the foreman on that day of the incident. Rumors began circulating about the incident, and the head of the compressor group, Servatrice Johnson, approached Tulsi and asked for a statement on the issue. On October the 21st, 1999, Tulsi submitted a statement. On October the 22nd, 1999, a committee was established to investigate the incident. This investigation found all 4 members of the repair crew initially conspired to conceal the accident. Roger denied the incident occurred when interviewed by the investigating committee. The OWTU was pressuring all the crew members to withhold the truth and encourage them to give false information to the investigating committee. This was evidenced when Ibrahim Mohammed gave a false account of what happened on Platform 22 on September 19, 1999 to the committee in which the union representative was present, the audit said. 2 days later, in the President of Commissioner of Affidavit, Mr. A. Mohammed gave the actual account of the events surrounding the accident that occurred on compressor unit 25 on September 19, 1999. Mohammed said he was badgered by union officials who constantly called his home at all hours of the night to ensure that he withheld the truth from the committee. TRINMA requested legal advice from law firm Boynes and Company on the issue on November 22, 1999. In conclusion, it is open to TRINMA to take the ultimate disciplinary action of summary dismissal against Roger on the grounds of 1, negligence, 2, failure to follow company procedure, 3, giving misleading and false information to the investigating committee and the representative of management, the advice stated. That is Ansel Roger, who today joining with Kamala Persad-Bissessar and glorifying that the PNM laws, a man who does lie stink. Not me say so according to that report. But I want to ask Roger, who was the lawyer that the union called and had to run from town to go up in wherever the court case is, whether in industrial court or what, that's Safety. Ask him if it was Stuart Richard Young, who is now SC. Ask him that for me. Deceitful, ungrateful set of BITCHES. So, Mrs. Persad-Bissessar has promised all kind of things. That was when she elected. At the Labor Day yesterday, when it came to the refinery, it is no longer going to reopen. It is now. We made a commitment that we would consider exploring what we can do to open that refinery. We have done as a government, what we have done as a government is agreed to establish a committee to develop a strategy to reactivate the refinery. So no longer they're going to reopen the refinery. They're going to consider whether to explore that when they form a committee who will investigate, and based on that, now we're hearing something different about that dirty, stinking jackass, labor jackass, trying to fool people. The man who lied on a report in Chinma about his negligence. So we know he does lie. A man that is alleged getting $90,000 a month, although he has no bargaining unit and he retired a long time. A man who union members who retire, who are represented by OWT, used to be calling on I-95.5, they ain't get a pension after he was insulted like a dog, like a union dog by Kamala Pasabi's sister in 2014. He back on the shaggy like the fumes from under them clothes. That's how them dotish. I don't know, I just asking a question. So no longer is reopen, it becomes now would consider, would explore. I want to tell public officers something. When I used to be making my videos, putting it on TikTok, I used to be telling you all the allegations that Leroy Baptiste, who was the backdoor president at the time of PSA, nobody voted for him. There were conversations, allegations, that he was going to be made a UNC senator and minister of labor. People cussed me. Where yesterday, not a senator and minister of labor. Excuse me. 2, when I was telling all of them from WASA, and they're only fighting for WASA issues, I have no problem with that. WASA need to be represented. Me vex with nobody. But it's at the public service, and they were operating as just about WASA. What has happened? And they were able to stop the restructuring of WASA. Roger in Union Ting long. So they want a law to change to deal with one person. Let me read this for you because it's retroactive, a retroactive law. Let me read this. What is retroactive law? In law, retroactive or retroactively means that a law, a decision, or action is applied to events or action that happened before the law was enacted. Essentially, it looks backward in time to change the legal consequences of past action. Retroactive laws are those that are made to apply to events that occur before the law was passed. Example, if a new law is passed that increases penalties for drunk driving and it's applied retroactively, it could mean that people who committed drunk driving offenses before the law was enacted could face the harsher penalties. In contrast to prospective laws, prospective law only applies to action that occur after the law is passed. This is generally considered fairer because it gives individuals notice of the rules they must follow. Retroactive laws can be controversial because they can be seen as unfair, especially if they impose new penalties or liabilities for actions that were legal when they were taken. However, some argue that retroactive laws are necessary in certain situations to correct injustices or address unforeseen consequences of past action. It is important to distinguish between retroactive and retrospective laws. Legal experts explain that retroactive law focus on altering the legal consequences of past actions, potentially with criminal implications, while retrospective law tends to deal with civil matters like contracts or taxes. In summary, retroactivity in law refers to the application of a law or decision to prevent past events, potentially changing the legal consequences of actions that occurred before the law was established. So that is what is retroactive law. Let me tell you all, in Trinidad and Tobago, when it comes to retroactive law, this is what it says. In Trinidad and Tobago, it is unlikely that laws could be made to retroactively disenfranchise a single individual. You want me to read that again? Because this is about Stuart Young and getting some $1 million pension. Let me read it again. In Trinidad and Tobago, it is unlikely that laws could be made to retroactively disenfranchise a single individual. While the Parliament can amend laws, there's a strong presumption against retroactive legislation, particularly when it affects fundamental rights like the rights to vote. Retroactive laws are generally disfavored and require clear, unambiguous language to be interpreted as such. The Trinidad and Tobago Constitution, like many, aims to protect fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right to participate in the electoral process. Presumption against retroactivity, I would have read that already, but I'll read it again. There's a common law presumption that statutes are not intended to operate retroactively according to the Organization of American States. This means that unless a law explicitly states it applies to past action, it generally assumes to apply only for future actions. If a law were intended to have retroactive effect, especially one affecting fundamental rights, it would need to be expressed in a very clear and ambiguous language. Any law that retroactively disenfranchises an individual would likely to face a strong legal challenge, potentially reaching the Privy Council, the final court of appeal of Trinidad and Tobago. Enacting a law targeting a single individual raises serious concerns about fairness, due process, and the rule of law. That would be difficult to justify such a targeted action. While there have been instances where laws were amended to address specific situations, these amendments were generally not aimed at disenfranchising a single individual. For example, in the past, an ex post facto law was passed to allow existing local government councillors to continue in office until an election can be held. But this was not targeted at one specific person, according to the Trinidad Express newspaper. So in my opinion, Kamla Prasad Bissessa and the union and them know their own foolishness, and to me that is a distraction because they know they can't change no law that will disenfranchise one individual. Okay, I'll leave that there. Let me continue. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Salita. Hi, is Zion on? Hi, Zion. So, I'm seeing that former Senator Runuka is threatening legal actions against Minister Saddam Hussein. Hi, Bernadette. This was 21 hours ago in The Guardian. Runuka threatens legal action after Hussein calls her name. Former Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, Runuka Sagram Singh Suklal, says her attorneys are reviewing statements made about her by Legal Affairs Minister Saddam Hussein in Parliament on Wednesday. In a statement sent to the media, the former minister called the contents false, misleading, ludicrous, and mischievous. Sagram Singh Suklal, an attorney, issued a statement after the debate in the lower house on amendments for extra funding for the 2025 budget on Wednesday. Sagram Singh Suklal was a senator in the former People's National Movement government and is no longer a member of the current parliament. The names of several non-parliamentarians, including state attorney, state agency officials, and attorneys were called by government MP as they made claim about spending by the previous administration and those who benefited from such. Hussein queried issues concerning several former government officials, including on Palaseco Agricultural Enterprise Limited and Rural Development Company matters, including the former Minister of Agriculture, former Finance Minister Vishnu Danpal, and former PAESL Chairman and a Director Hussein. Also queried the contracts awarded and a director. Hussein also queried the contracts awarded under former Minister Kazim Hussein and Faris Alwari. Hussein claimed I now have companies that are linked to Keith Rowley, but somebody write what it was about having protocol and how to call people name. Look what they write here, Keith Rowley. So we mustn't say Kamala. Linked to Dr. Keith Rowley, ex-minister Kazim Hussain, PNM Senator Faris Alwari, one Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal. He also named owners of other private sector companies. But Sagram Singh Suklal said, in response to some allegation I understand Mr. Hussain made against my name, I categorically state that the minister's statements are false, misleading, ludicrous, and mischievous. They are calculated to make bold, unsupported allegations against me under the protection of parliamentary privilege, she added. I challenge him to make them outside of the parliament. My bands, my robes are ready, and my legal team is eagerly awaiting. I have served TNT with the highest level of honesty and integrity, and throughout my term in office, I have jealously guarded my good name, and I will continue fiercely to do so. I have therefore brought this matter to the attention of my attorneys at law, and I eagerly await their advice and guidance, Sagram Singh Suklal said. Meanwhile, Guardian Media contacted several attorneys named by Hussain in Parliament on Wednesday, who received millions in state briefs under the PNM government, including Senior Counsel Douglas Nance, Dilbert Peterson, Fayyad Hussain, Terence Barrett, and former Minister Faris Alwari. However, no one responded. And it's ironic that MP Hussain is talking about who get brief under PNM. He forgot how much brief lawyers and things eat a food and all kind of bacchanal under them in 2015. But I'll talk about that next week, not today. So when I see Senator Sagram Singh, I'm just reminded of, couldn't she also be included as a senator? Excuse me, opposition senator? Couldn't Ms. Shamfa Kocho Lewis be included as a opposition senator? Couldn't Ms. Ayanna Webster Roy be included as a government senator? Couldn't Senator Pryor there, Obika, be included? Hislop from Tobago, he not be included? Instead, we have two people who lost the electoral seat them as opposition senator. I just ask him, because they want to build back on young people. I just asking a question. I'm not challenging anybody, asking a question. So Senator, former Senator, my dear, you have my support. You know, I like you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love my sham for me. And you know, we good. So I saw this here, coming to the PNM internal election. A comment on that. Hi, Joycelyn. So this, I saw this on Live Zone, and it says here, PNM supporters lying on their backs and taking licks from opponents, said Gonzalez. And who is the Gonzalez? Aruka Lupino MP Marvin Gonzalez believes the PNM has become a dormant political force. He was speaking at a political meeting at the Buko Community Center in Tobago on June the 17th, ahead of the PNM's internal election on June the 22nd. Gonzalez is contesting the position of chairman on the one PNM slate by the political leader designate Penelope Beckers, outlining several projects which he and other former PNM ministers have delivered to Tobagonians and citizens in other parts of the country over the past 4 years. Gonzalez accused supporters of failing to highlight the works done by the party. He also accused them of remaining silent while the PNM's detractors constantly malign the party on social media. I will tell you this, we are not being propagandists of the PNM. When they go on Instagram and when they go on social media and they spread their lies every single day to condition the minds of our people, who is pushing back against them? We have become a dormant political force, lying on our backs and taking licks every single day. Our opponents are lying every single day, and as a party, we are not pushing back against them. We are not, and therefore the lies have taken root in the minds of our children, and we have to reverse that. I want to tell MP Marvin Gonzalez with the greatest of respect. When you talk about people wasn't saying what the PNM and the works the PNM was doing, let me tell you something, sir. Talk to your social media officer and talk to the PRO, because I will tell you something. It had a group of us out here, MP Gonzalez, who didn't ask for $1. We didn't ask for a cent. We asked nobody nothing. We were doing it because we were patriots. We were on social media, morning, noon, and night. We compile a whole list of all the things the government was doing. We were taking blows and cuss and insult from UNC supporters every single day, with no help from the social media officer or PRO or nobody in the PNM. And we were doing it, and we were doing it well, putting out and advancing the good works of the People's National Movement. We were all over radio, 91.9, I-95.5. We were on programs, we were on show, we were on the barbershop, all over, exporting the works that the PNM was doing. Where was the SMO, the social media officer? Where was the PRO? For see you today, with all due respect, Member of Parliament Marvin Gonzalez, to talk about people, supporters wasn't showing the good works that the PNM was doing. Talk to them inside the PNM party, not to we outside here. Because like if you didn't know, you will know today. And I hear somebody talk about the bunking page, like they didn't read properly. It said the bunking UNC lies with truth or with facts. Or they're fighting on that page too. That page was a page that kept the People's National Movement in the game. Everything the PNM do positive was put there. When you went about in the ministry, Mr. Marvin Gonzalez, when he was Minister of Public Utilities, and he was posting things on the ministry thing, we were taking those things and putting it up all over. On my show, and always showing the water for all who get water, so never had water before that. How you can talk about the supporters? And we wasn't pushing back. Talk to them inside there, because the opposition leader, political leader say them on side there fall long on the job. Talk to them. Talk to them why they wasn't doing the work they was getting paid to do. We was doing the work for all year and doing it damn well. 2020, all the Philippines win the election because of all the strength alone. If we wasn't on social media every day, it's a group of us, a small group, and we were supported on social media by people who understood the agenda and take the information that we were given and put it out. When they was telling we, when UNC go low, we must go high. We said not a shit of that. When they go low, we going lower because we have to fight. We're talking about now. But I want you also to understand something, sir. You didn't win. And this is not a criticism, you know, all they can't take. Nobody's telling all they nothing, but all they alone can tell people. These are facts out there. You want to sit up in Aruka, Lopino, by about 200 and something votes. I understand, I don't know how true it is. There's an allegation that you tell the elders of the, you don't want old people wrong, you only want young people. Well, if them old people, if it is true that they didn't want wrong you, then go out and vote. You might have very well lost that seat up there in Lopino, Aruka. And the PNM have had just 12 people in there. So who was doing the work to promote the work at the PNM? It certainly wasn't the executive of the PNM. So you all need to understand that and appreciate that. We never call Balize House and say we want a contract or we want $1 or we want nothing, because it wasn't about that first. It was about making sure the best party in this country, which is the People's National Movement, remain in office. And we did it with love and patriotism. Have respect. Have respect. The same way we call you honorable minister. And we used to make sure we let people know the work you're doing. Have respect. For those who voted for you and caused you to win your seat. And to those who have been doing the work, that people know what the government was doing all the time, because they wasn't doing nothing in the SNO and PRO. Have respect, sir. Respect works both ways. Have respect. Let me continue. This young lady would have made this video. It's not the first time she would have done her TikToks. This is what she had to say. We're talking today. This is what she had to say.
1 PNM, nothing. Listen, guys, this video is not going to be polished. I'm not trying to sound politically correct. All the demure BS get thrown out the window. All your uncracked. I don't know if you all have been monitoring the PNM internal elections and this whole debacle. To me, is an utter disgrace. I come to tell all to deceitful. All deceitful and despicable, because all this talk about 1 PNM, when you look at the campaign messages, is the same divisive rhetoric. General election done, but it seems like it's PNM versus PNM, and it makes no sense to me, because there's only one real prominent slate. There's only one person running for the position of political leader. So I don't understand. I am flabbergasted. I am baffled. I am dumbfounded by the point you are trying to prove. Is like everybody have a voice now. So Dr. Rowley no longer there and we'll all moved out still. So it's like everybody emboldened. Y'all have tenacity all of a sudden. All the time while I was there quiet and supporting, why change your tune now? And this is my thing with people. This is why I don't like politics. It is very nasty. It's very vitriolic. It's filled with a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of fakery in the bakery. Because look at this, right? If you are part of an organization and things don't go your way, and let's just say that organization may have suffered a loss or whatever, You don't just come now and trash and point fingers and say, well, is this one fault or is that one fault? It's the collective fault. It's the collective responsibility of all those PNM ex-ministers. Not just Dr. Rowley. Not just Yotium. And you all could hypothesize and say, maybe if there was another person selected as political leader, maybe you all have one bull crap. It had nothing to win there. The PNM as a party, as a collective lost. It's not Dr. Rowley lost. It's not Stuart Young lost. As a matter of fact, Stuart Young will seat. Someone who loud, someone who boisterous and win all their seats. Hello? All I need to stop it. And this is why I distance myself from politics in any career-driven way. Because of things like this, I too real. And you see, Olia, one PNM nothing. We see the division, it is glaring, it is pellucid.
So this young lady who are custom making these videos, you go on TikTok and you will see it. So she made that there. And somebody sent me this. And it is alleged to be from Dr. Amory Brown. In his response to what this young lady would have said. Right? Let me just get it here. This is alleged to come from Amory Brown on some page that he has. Hear what he's saying about this young lady. Same paid actress that was used many times by the campaign manager in the unsuccessful 2025 general election campaign. Clearly, some of that same campaign machinery is being utilized this weekend in a last desperate attempt. You hear that? When this young lady was talking before the election and bringing out things that some people may not understand, and she explained it, she talked about the TTRA, she talked about several things. Nobody didn't have a problem with she. It's the same way with the people on social media, Fearless Warrior, me and others. When we did a jam in UNC, all of them have a problem with we because it serves all the purpose. But not all the purpose. But now, because we're looking at the internal PNM, the PNM party, not the PNM as a government, but PNM as a party, and we're saying, hey, hold up. We're in a position now that we need the strongest, the best, and everything. And because we're having conversation about that, and all they don't like the conversation, or they have a problem, or they know who pay who, and who do this and who do that. Had the PNM win the election, would this message that is attributed allegedly to Dr. Amory Brown, would he have said that? Would anybody would have said, because I don't know if it is true, I'm just saying, would he have said that? And if they did win, would they be attacking on social media all the social media people who are out there promoting what the PNM has done in this country when we had a social media officer with fall long on the walk? Everybody know that is not me saying so. But now, because all they under the spotlight, all they want to lead. All they want to lead, so nobody mustn't talk about all this. All they want to disrespect. And send out who's supporting all they know to come now to insult and cuss. Same PNM people who was fighting for all year was to get back in office 2015, 2020. And all they talking about love. Where's the love? Before they look to mediate and fix things. Because in my opinion, if all they did start off right, if all their heart was in the right place, when all they went to Tobago and all they know, some of them know their heart, or they want to support nothing, or they want to do nothing, or they still put all their name and go to the general council meeting. When all of us call out, stand up like man and woman and say, Dr. Rowley, we ain't care what you say. We don't want Stuart Young. Or they didn't do that. Or they didn't stand up like man and woman and say no. Or they join and say yes. And today you want to tell we, Dr. Rolly bully all you? Well, if one man could bully all you, where's the purpose of being the executive of the PNM now? If the 9 or 10 all you, how much all you didn't vote for Stuart Young? All you, we didn't vote for Stuart Young. When all you was called to stand up, say all you say whatever. Why all you didn't stand up together still and say all you had to say whatever, and all you bubble down? Who all you blaming for that? All you say, it is more diabolical to move and pretend like all you supporting all your own colleague and all you cutting up the person behind the back. That is more diabolical than standing up and saying we're not supporting. Say it out in the open. All you didn't do that. All you let Trinidad and Tobago believe all you support Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley, and all you made people believe that. And then after start to send mixed signal to people. All you start to tune off people, just like all you tuning off people now. Let me continue. So, this is from it is just no change makers. You know, they don't like to hear nothing from that group or person or whatever. They don't know who it is, so they start to call all kind of people name. One time they say it's me, then they say it's he, then they say it's she, then they say it's Dr. Rowley, then they say it's Stuart Young, then they don't know who it is, so they call in everybody. I have my live, Jennifer. I have my Facebook page, Jennifer Frederick, and I have my live, let me talk everything. That is what I know. So this is from PNM Game Changers endorsing the best in the field 2022 internal elections. I just read them what they have. I will tell you my opinion when I'm finished. Vote smart, vote for truth. Vote to save the PNM. Port of Spain, Trinidad, June the 20th, 2025. The PNM Game Changers proudly endorses a distinguished group of independent candidates in the June 2022 internal elections. Individuals who have served, sacrificed, and stood tall for the People's National Movement. They are no slate candidates. They are true PNM patriots chosen by merit, not manipulation. From a crowded field, these names shine brightest, representing the values, history, and soul of the PNM. Endorsed independent candidate, Lady Vice Chair, Donna Cox. Donna Cox is no stranger to the party's work for the people's concern. From NFM to Parliament to the Cabinet, she has walked the walk. Her record reflects humility, experience, and commitment to the movement, not to cliques. We remind members that Dr. Nyan Gaspidoli, the current illegitimate installed party chairman, could not seek re-election to the post because she had lost at the General Council vote. Like so many of the one PNM slate, unpopular, unpalatable, and undeserved, the mere fact that she now attempts to slip into the Lady Vice Chairman role is scandalous and disgraceful. It's a political sleight of hands. We say without apology, reject Dr. Dolly. This is not reinvention. This is recycling incompetence. She served as deputy political leader during a time of internal decay. She is no knight in shining armor. Perhaps only the glittering illusion of Foster Cummins. This is not my words, not writing. I don't know who these people are. The emperor has no clothes, and the party must stop pretending otherwise. Assistant General Secretary Malika Blair, a former deputy mayor of San Fernando and a lifelong servant of the Southern PNM, Malika is strategic, efficient, and committed. She is strategic, efficient, and committed. Her leadership quality is steady, quiet, and impactful, and exactly what the Secretariat needs. Treasurer, Nal Ramsingh. Though aligned with the one PNM group, Nal Ramsingh has earned our endorsement on his merit. A central-based entrepreneur, former general election candidate, and longtime financial supporter of the party, Nal exemplifies commitment, accountability, and clean political finance. His son was a candidate in the recent general election, underscoring the family's deep loyalty to the PNM. Education Officer Curtis Toussaint. Curtis brings depth and dignity to the post. a former prospective candidate for Digo Martin West, secretary of the constituency and implementation committee member. He also has a long career in education and community leadership. His record and LinkedIn's profile speaks to his qualification. He is the intellectual bridge the PNM desperately needs. Field Officer Richard Thompson, a grassroots stalwart and proven organizer, Richard has mobilized communities, shaped constituency wins, and built teams from the ground up. His service spans over 2 decades and has the field credibility to restore our operational might. Welfare Officer Maxine Richards. Maxine compassion and experience, especially supporting the late Joycelyn Budden, positioned her as the ideal candidate since she was last elected and held the post and has maintained the heart, humility, humanity, and dignity of welfare support for our members. Maxine comes from a family of deep history and service to Trinidad and Tobago, and there's no doubt that her values of service and commitment are nothing but a way of life. Support Maxine to the max. Operation Officer Iber Steele Atong, IBA or IBA, represents everything the current operation arms lack: innovation, structure, professionalism. To Irene Hines, we say thank you. The membership knows your name and your years of service, but this role has outgrown you. Once seen as a principal, from standing against Amy Brown to supporting then rejected Darrell Smith, you have sadly lost your way. Not my words. I don't know who these people are who wrote this. Somebody sent it to me. I'm just reading because I read data when I get stuff. In 2025, your silence in the face of Simon de Nobrega incompetence as MP, your alignment with the one PNM slate, and your willingness to facilitate an illegal vote have made your position untenable. When Irene sits silent while the party slides into shame, this is not loyalty. This is complicity. The PNM needs operational leadership with vision, not just service. Operations is more than just water carrier duties. We need new drivers in the seat, and that person is Iber Steele Atong. Labor Relations Officer Andrew Alves. Alves serves a distinction in the post before. He is grounded, grassroots, a union man, and understands workers and walks with the rank and file. Labor will not have drifted from the PNM had he remained. We support his return. Elections Officer Sanjeev Buru, a proud PNM attorney and recent candidate for Kumuto Manzalina. Sanjeev represents the future of political operations in our party. He understands elections, technology, law, and strategy. At last, we may have an elections officer who can turn on a computer and deliver results. We call on Indar Parasam to withdraw his candidacy and endorse Sanjeev. Indar's loyal service is appreciated, but his political alliance with Foster Cummins, one of the most trained figures in party politics, has eroded his credibility. The time has come to pass the baton. We reject, not me, Papa, the change game changers or game makers. We reject Terrence Bipat, who has been shuffled from post to post by one PNM in a failed attempt to undercut Indar, only to be named in parliamentary proceedings for scandalous bid rigging and contract dealing. His name and that of others on the one PNM ticket were referenced in Wednesday media appropriation debate, and more damning revelations are expected when the UNC resumes the debate on Monday. The PNM is on the brink of public disgrace. It says here, no endorsement for public relations officer. It is unfortunate, but no candidate has earned our endorsement for public relations officer. We have previously outlined the failures of Faris Alwari, and we do not know enough of Ms. Lizette Weeks to offer confidence in a candidacy. This crucial role is left in such a state is a troubling sign of our current crisis. Youth officer and social media officers' statements forthcoming. A separate public statement will be released regarding the youth and social media officer posts. One PNM is not the answer, it is the threat. The PNM game changers urge all members to open their eyes. One PNM is not reform, it is not. These are bad eggs in our crate. They bring scandal, not service, shame, not solution. It is deeply troubling and unfortunate that the political leader-elect, Honorable Penelope Beckers-Robinson, has chosen the path she now travels. As such, she must now live by the consequences of his decisions, or which the PNM changemakers hold her entirely accountable. For which the PNM changemakers hold her entirely accountable. This Sunday, vote for truth over tactics, service over slates, and people over puppets. Vote for real patriots, not recycled figureheads propped up by questionable forces. This is a defining moment. We must save the PNM from higher disgrace. The future is watching. So again, this is not my writings. This is from Changemakers, and that they have a list. The only persons I would have, I'm also seeing there's conversation about Christopher George. That's from another place. Let me see if I get this list here. People have their preferences, and I ain't getting in that. I see there's a list here that is not a slate, but people put together this list. They say number 1 position, chairman, I see me name Chinua Allen. Number 2, I'm seeing vice chair, Paula Gopi School. I'm seeing 3, lady vice chair, Donna Cox. I'm seeing 4, general secretary, Roger Boyens. I'm also seeing that they put up a note, don't allow the vote to be split. Vote for Roger Boyens for general secretary. That is what they say, right? I'm seeing assistant secretary, Malika Blair. I'm seeing treasurer, Anthony Davis. I'm seeing this list has, for the public relations officer, they have Christopher George. Well, we all know, well, I'll come to that just now. So I'm going to leave out that for a minute. You see, education officer Hillary Bernard, I think that's a Dr. Hillary Bernard, and that's what region. I see election officer again, Sanjeev Buju. Field officer, I see Richard Thompson. Labor relation officer, we have Sinclair O'Neill and Andrew Alves. Welfare officer, Maxine Richards. I'm seeing they put here, operation officer, Sterling Barnes or Ever Steele Atom, right? I would tell you out of all that, this is my personal view here now, my personal view. And the reason why is because I know Dominic Romaine. And when he would have entered as an independent, for the first time in the PNM's internal election, I made myself his campaign manager. I took it upon myself. He didn't ask me, I took it upon myself. I was a campaign manager. Excuse me. I did a lot of work on social media promoting him online. But most instructive is, for first time, Dominic Romaine, the amount of votes that Dominic Romaine got as that social media officer, it was amazing. So I'm telling all you again, when you go out and vote and you're voting for social media officer, because all you know Dominic, he has been proven and tried. Dominic has been bringing the information on a Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and whenever he could bring it. And you all have always supported him. Once you're able to vote, go out and vote resoundingly for Dominic Romaine for the social media officer. I endorse that, what I just said, me. With regards to the lady vice chair, my only interest in this is when I think about the Women's League and the fact that we need to have the Women's League continue because Madam Camille Robinson-Regis is not entering into the internal election. So that position, because she is the chair of the Women's League. And we would want somebody to continue her work and take it into 2020 and beyond. And the Women's League, if you speak to one, Mrs. Marilyn Gordon, who was a young minister in the Dr. Eric Eustace Williams cabinet, she was put in charge of the Women's Affairs, they call it the Kitchen Cabinet, and the Women's League, she didn't start it, but she continued it, was a force to be reckoned with. Nobody messed with the Women's League of the People's National Movement. They call them Fatah's Brigade, all kind of thing. My mother was a member of the Women's League. So I saw them, I know the work they could do, and I know the importance they are to the People's National Movement. And in this rounds, where we need to empower more of our young girls, especially, who are not into politics, but to get them in that space in an organization where they could be held. And the Women's League is the place for that. When it comes to campaigning, it's the Women's League who lead it. Man never used to really campaign. It's the women and the children. I used to go around with my mama. We used to go and stick up posters all over the place. I was from Aruka constituency. Miss Marilyn Gordon was our member of parliament. Before it was Hector McLean, God rest his soul. And after Miss Marilyn Gordon, it was Jarrett Narayan, rest his soul. So I ain't talking things where I don't know. The councillor at the time of I was Miss Esme Smith Cumberbatch, God rest her soul. So me are talking just. So when I think in context of the Women's League, and when I see who offering themselves up to run the Women's League, I have no choice, none whatsoever, but to endorse Ms. Donna Cox to continue the work for the Women's League. In no way am I endorsing, they can make a video and cost me again, that's quite okay. In no way I am endorsing Dr. Nayan Gaspidali. No way. And it's not what people tell me. It's from what I interact and what I see for myself. So when they're going out to vote, I tell them all these two positions to vote for. I call other names of people that are part of the independent. You're all free to choose from that. That's all they choose. But one thing, what they could tell people, I tell all them, when they're going to vote for social media officer, vote for Dominic Romaine. When they're going to vote for Lady Vice Chair, vote for Donna Cox. And I call a name of other potentials. You all make all the choices. And as I saw a notice put by Roger Boyne's name, they said, don't allow the vote to split. I don't know who the other person is or the other persons are. They said, don't allow the vote for split. Roger Manu. That is what I see the notice have. But as again I say, social media officer and Lady Vice Chair, Dominic Romaine, Donna Cox. So let me continue. I saw this, and it is from Madam Camille Robinson-Regis. Well, one other reason I'm saying why I will not support Dr. Nayan Gaspidali. She's a bright woman, intellectual. She has a PhD, I think, in micro something. That's the woman good on. Beautiful lady, just beautiful. But sometimes there are certain position and posts is suited for you because you have the temperament. I will always remember when one of her colleagues, who is a woman, and the Lady Vice Chair of the Women's League, when we were marching, when Kamala Persad disrespected Madam Camille Robinson-Regis, and we were looking for support against hate speech, Minister of Education at the time, Dr. Nayan Gaspidali, when approached, she walked away. And that is your colleague. I want you all to ask her, how did she treat with another colleague who was a junior minister in the Ministry of Education? Ask her how she treated that individual. God rest her soul. Just ask her. And they could draw the conclusion from her. When I see her tomorrow in a meeting, whoever, ask her. Ask her how she dealt with the issue with Madam Camille Robinson-Regis when we were having the March Against Hate Speech, and she was approached to put a signature to support. She's not in support of hate speech. One of her colleagues who she sits by in Parliament, who was and still is the lady vice chair of the Women's League. Did she support? And ask her, I ain't telling her how and when, what. Ask her how she treated the late member of Parliament for Malabar. It was Malabar. I can't remember where it go. That is where Dominic Romain win now. She was a junior minister in the Ministry of Education. Asked Dr. Dolly, Dr. Nayan Gaspy Dolly, how she treated the MP for that area, who was the junior minister education, God rest her soul. And I rest my case right there. So as I was saying, I saw this, and it is a letter, and it touched my heart, because you don't usually hear Madam Camille Robinson Regis come out and speak on these kind of matters. And Madam Camille Robinson Regis, she at one time was the speaker, the leader of government business in the House. So when she speaks with weight. She was also, as I say, up to now, the vice chair of the Women's League, minister in several ministries, should have made a mark, and always there when anything that needs to be mentioned, especially of national interest, especially sometimes when there's an attack on Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, was the Prime Minister at the time, you would see the Women's League putting out their letters in support of. So she's a household name in politics, and she has won her seat at the polls this year in the 2025 general elections, right? So let me read what was said, what she would have said. It reads, I'm deeply saddened by the fact that this internal election has turned into a bastion of people who genuinely care for and have worked diligently for our beloved party and country. I recall when Dr. Rowley challenged Mr. Manning for the position of political leader, I supported Mr. Manning and was a frontline speaker, and not one day did I see the need to speak ill of Dr. Rowley or members who choose to support him. There was no need, as it was a contest amongst family, and in that case, we didn't need to bring down one or other to win. We needed to highlight why it was felt that one candidate had the better quality to lead at that time. I was not even a candidate, but I spoke several times in support of Mr. Manning, never in any way denigrating Dr. Rowley, who had a legitimate right to challenge. In fact, during the campaign, I went to Dr. Rowley's home, and she put R, so it was Dr. Rowley's home, and give him my school, and give him and my schoolmate Sharon, that would be Dr. Rowley's wife, Sharon Rowley, a Rottweiler puppy. We never became unkind to each other, or spoke ill of each other, or spoke ill of other members who supported him. As a matter of fact, Kamaluddin Mohammed, who was vying for chairman of the party with Dr. Rowley, was the speaker at the conference of the Aruka South constituency that I represented. I repeat that there was no need to unfairly damage opponents in order to win. At the end of the day, we need all hands on deck. All are we is one family. We must be free to make our choices without concerns about vilification or consequences. The only consequence at the end of the internal election must be that the best person for each position must evolve the winner, and with boundless faith in our destiny, we take our party forward. Further, after elections, everyone remains PNM and in the PNM. We will need to work together to fortify our party, and that becomes difficult if some seems hell-bent on hurting others. The PNM and its leaders and members must remain committed to standing firm in principle and truth, representing the people with clarity, conviction, and dignity, even amidst the noise and challenges. It is very sad to see Dr. Rowley, who only wanted and still wants what is best for our party and country, under attack from some of his very own party. Indeed, persons whose political career he resurrected and whom he entrusted with high office, being vilified by your own, and at the same time, our opponents are vilifying him. It's painful to see that taking place. It is so unnecessary and unfortunate. Unbelievably, though, is that some members of the leadership who have been accused of failing us form an integral part of the One Love. Isn't that contradictory? I hold fast to the belief and truth. Discipline and integrity will always prevail. Choose wisely. Camille Robinson. I want to endorse what Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis has said. I totally endorse it. Because you are talking one love. Bring back the love and one team. And yet, as anybody talk against Ole, Ole have people cussing them, and Ole telling people to push back against them and calling them fraud. And all kind of ill things you all see. Ole sound like a kite that I-O and flying all over the place. Instead of, as Ms. Camille Robinson Regis said, just different people going up for different position, and you just go to the people, the members, and say why you think you're the best person over A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's no need to bring down and insult people to do that. Because at the end of the day, when all this is over, an executive is in place with the political leader who was not challenged, so she is the political leader, or they're looking for all them same people that only insult and cuss and want to victimize and want to find out who it is and call the name, show your face. It's the same people who make up the party that only will want on board to help all build back, because the executive by themselves can't build nothing. You need the help of other people. You need the people on the ground. The same one you're cussing. And again, MP Gonzalez, it is alleged you say the one old people, wrong, you only young people. If that is true, what you tell people in the face, that is wrong. Because young people alone can't do it by themselves. That is why when you look at the people putting up themselves, it have a mixture. It's not just young people alone. So when all castigate and throw aside the people who are standing all the time in the defense of the People's National Movement, when all the SMO or the social media officer wasn't doing nothing, if we, I ain't gonna call all people names because nobody ain't give me permission ready to call no name. So I'm saying we. So all who know they was doing what I saying, the only person I'm gonna call up front is Eric. And Mr. Chance said I could call his name. Not Eric. Oh. Dominic Romaine. Eric popped in my head because of a situation that happened that I wasn't going to. But you know what? Yes, Eric. When you hear, yes, Eric. Eric, myself, Mr. Chance. We had those announcers on radios. We had John and Darian Marcel on Saturdays. And a lot of you all there who there, Mr. Lita, Melka, Joycelyn, so many others. When we come on social media, we put up something, or they give me support. Joyda, a whole group, you know, see them now. And they have so much information, let's go on anybody else chat and put the information, or then nobody can challenge them. It's because we started doing that. When the UNC supporters was calling we the N-word, we hungry, we eating grass, we let me see, HYMC, or you know what I mean? We were getting that right through. How we ugly, we duncy, we stupid, we eating kids rowdy feces, all kind of things they're telling we. And we stood in defense of the People's National Movement when the social media officer was doing nothing. All they tell me if I lie. Tell me if I lie. Joycelyn, Cynthia, Salita, Melka, tell me if I lie. Tell me if all the selfies will be saying, but when the social media officer. And all the thank God that had Dominic. And thank God that had we. Tell me if I lie. So to hear MP Marvin Gonzalez speak to us so disparagingly, as if we're doing something wrong by asking questions, because we want the best People's National Movement. That is, say we're pushing propaganda. Yeah? What propaganda we pushing? If it's a propaganda and lies, well then carry the people to court who all feel pushing propaganda and lies, because propaganda is lies. Carry them to court. In the absence of that, all they buckle down, all they say bring back the love, but all they bring in hate. All they bring in more division. And everywhere they go, all they calling Dr. Rowley name, but everywhere they go, all they only making reference to the man. Leave the man alone. Marvin Gonzalez and people who bring you into the politics, who give you a chance, who give you a ministry. Opposition leader, political leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckers Robinson. You say he was out in the wilderness for years. Who bring you back inside? Who give you the diplomatic posting? Who bring you back in the politics? Dr. Amory Brown. Who give you a chance? Who bring you back in the politics? Simon Obriega. Who bring all you back in this whole thing? Give all you that extra thing. Dr. Nine Belligasti. And every time all they appear somewhere, all they only talking about Dr. Rowley, but all they calling the man, all they doing that for leave the man alone. During COVID-19, all of we that glad he had that kind of mentality, a firm mentality to take action. All right, this country cannot be a deserted island. Only that glad for that kind of result that he had. The World Health Organization praise him. Praise the way he treated in the absence of vaccines in the world. He was able to use science to keep us safe. All of us happy for that. Because the UNC take the PLM to court was 60-something times during them times. All of us happy for that. All of us happy. He kept you all the ministries. Public officers are happy. Nobody gets sent home. You're home, drawing a salary. Only emergency workers are $2 happy. In 2015, when he came in and met a recession, all of us happy. Dr. Rowley was there. So don't know all the only bad talking the man. All the too wicked. That wickedness. He is perfect. No man is perfect, but he has left. Okay, the election is over, as the young lady say, it's a collective responsibility because all you decide, all you going with the plan, all you say so. And then somewhere along, all was planning, in my opinion, shafting people in the back. So all they could blame 2 people alone. Oh, that is wickedness, and all that bring back the love. Leave Dr. Rowley alone. Where was Ole when they call him a rapist? And it was put on the Hansard in this country. Where was Ole? Where Ole was? When Vanilla Allen Toppin stood up in the parliament, the hollow chambers, and I said a dirty lie on Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley that the father raped his mother, he born a rape child, he born angry, and he raped a woman. Where was Ole to defend Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley against that? And they continue to this day to call him a pedophile and rapist. Where was Ole? He's a human being. Are they putting him through more thing now? Leave him alone. The election passed. Ole took part in it because Ole make people believe Ole supports Stuart Young. So Ole have to take blame too. If Ole did say in the early Ole supporting Stuart Young, we would have know how to operate. But Ole didn't do that. Ole make people feel in this country Ole supports Stuart Young. But I want to give our opinion here. My opinion is when Ole see the kind of love that Stuart Young getting on the ground, he's only 50 years old. Or let's start to calculate and give an opinion. Or let's start to calculate. Next 5 years, he go with 55. Oh, God. Next 5 years, he go with 60. So like 2 terms. He could probably make 3 terms, he go with 65. By that time, all my political aspiration go down because I don't in my 60s. I can't wait next 15 years again. When you pick a new cabinet, I might be in it. That opinion I give him. That's the opinion I give him. So must be because he's really young in truth and all. Let's study the kind of support and love he gets and this man go win this election, boy. But when he win it now, he will have a new cabinet. I might be in that cabinet again. And if he stay there, that 5 years after he done, they will vote for him again, boy. He will just be 60 after 10 years. And he have a next 5 years again. He will be 65. No. We can't allow that because we will never get a chance to run things. That's the opinion I give him. Because I don't understand why Ole support the man. Support what Dr. Rowley said, Ole had all opportunity. Just like how Jennifer Baptiste Primus went out all in the road, she and the hunt and all kind of thing with her, and get on in the general council, or they kind of stand up and say, oh, they're not supporting, but Ole let people to believe, or they're supporting. So Ole take blame too. Take bamboo too. Leave Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley alone. He gave enough years of service in this country. Sterling service. He always stood up and made the unpopular decisions in this country when people refused to do it. He stood up against Mr. Manning, not because he didn't like Mr. Manning. He had a conviction when it comes to the UD and he stood up, he stood his ground. Appreciate him for that. Nobody can never say Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley thief $1 from the citizens of this country or was involved in any corruption in this country. Leave the man alone. If all you want to rule and rule quiet and humility, well, that's all the business. Leave the man alone. He was a man for them times. The times he had to rule under, he didn't have no time for the quiet man and no easy man. It was serious charming coming down. He had to make decisions. He had to make tough decisions to keep all away and Trinidad and Tobago from going to the IMF. Leave the man alone. Let me see all who here on Bounce Up. Let me give all a shout out. So, Kadima, Pauline, Patty, Cheryl Ann, Raymond, Cheryl Bishop, Ansel Batiste, Ricardo Coca, Marlene Pantin, Point Commander Sharon, Chris Hamilton, Charles, Anne-Marie Arthur, Wayne Gibson, Merlin Pantin, Donna Walcott. Donna, you're all over here and there, like you know. You making sure my numbers in place. Anne Miles, Diane Payne, Felix Boudou, Sean Wharton, Sedina, Rena Jennings, Bam, bam, bam. Let me see again. Marlene Pantin. I'm not sure if I said that already. I can't remember. Kathleen K. Julie Batiste. Yes, Sedina Kwashi. Kenneth. Wayne Joseph. Wayne Gibson. I said that already, I think, yeah. You see, I remember all that today. I remember. Right. Again, thank you all, Annette Moses. I want to thank you all those who are tuning in and logged on to the platform. Bounce Up Central Networks, thank you all for giving me that support. I see I have 239 viewers. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Yeah? So let me go back to where I was. So people, this is where we at. And if I'm saying anything that you all think is unfair, you all free to put it and say, no, Jenny, what you're saying is wrong. Tell me what I'm doing is wrong. Tell me if anything I just say or anything I've done deserved anybody who from the PNM to, say it from the PNM to, making life to cost me for what reason? Or then cost the social media officer, or then cost the PRO, or then cost them MPs and them who say yes, they support him, and then they pull so. I'm not advocating, I'm just saying something. But Ole had time to cost me for what? It's not I talking, I want everybody talking. Look what Miss Camille Robinson Regis had to write. Because she's sitting back and seeing it. It's saddening her because they're not accustomed. The PNM not accustomed with this kind of hate what's going on there. People have had a team, a lot of people thing, whatever, but when they go, they're presenting what they could do in the position that they're vying for, and that is it. No, it's a who cussing who telling who to cuss who talking about show your face and all this kind of talk and think. I'm talking to MP Gonzalez again. There's a reason why I'm talking to him. I'm watching your face and the demeanor. So check yourself. So check yourself. Check your countenance not looking. You're not looking like Marvin Gonzalez. You used to know something. Check yourself, sir. I just get it in the spirit to tell you that. Check yourself, sir. Me no big spiritual person or nothing. So me no church woman. Me nothing. I just talk truth. As much as I could talk truth. Check yourself, your countenance and looking. Don't get swept up in things that you know is not the right things to do. Stand up. Stand up for what is right, sir. Stand up. When you're a Minister of Public Utilities, we say big you up. Because we find that you're really working. We big you up. The social media officer wasn't bigging you up. We out here was beginning up. All them ministers and even Dr. Naim Gasly, anything she do in the ministry, we begin up that. Because it's about the government and making sure people know what the government, the PNM government is doing. When all your SMO and PRO wasn't doing no work, or wasn't doing nothing, the education officer, nothing. We was out there educating, we was out there promoting, and we were out there on social media and on traditional media. Let anybody ask MP Marvin Gonzalez, ask about me. Ask about we never come by this house and beg for nothing. We never come by this house and say we want this and we want that. We did it without being asked. And today, the kind of high road all they taking, as if all they did this by all themselves. All they didn't do it by all themselves. 2015, 2020, all they didn't do it by all themselves. Don't disrespect, we know. Don't disrespect the keyboard warriors and them who on social media, and as we jam, they're right there with we jamming. Don't disrespect them. Don't disrespect the people who are the live on thing on social media. We're pushing the PNM. Don't disrespect we. Because when this election is over and a central X, or let us call it, is installed, all they want all hands on deck. All hands all they want on deck. We have been doing this since about 2019. Since during not the last local government election, the one before that. We've been doing this. Out here doing this in the wilderness, doing it and doing it well. And we keep going and going. Don't country out of this and feel like a disrespect we. Don't do that. Have respect, and have respect for the other members or other candidates, independent candidates who are going up. It shows that the PNM party people are still attracted to come and make it something. Don't disrespect them. Don't disrespect them. Because all they could have an internal election where it's just all they alone going up. Nobody want to take part. But people are putting themselves up, putting themselves out there. Don't disrespect them. Because the PNM is in a bad way right now. And it wants healing. But it cannot heal if all they continue to be nasty and vindictive and hateful against people who do not support all it. They can't heal so. But if all they're confident in what all they're doing, in my opinion, all they won't get on so. If all they know they're doing things the right way, in my opinion, all they won't get on so. I tell you right now, they're like a kite with IO. The string bus and all over the place, all over, looking for a place to land and then blame somebody for whoever it is. Get all this self in order. So let me see all who here. And again, I'm saying, I telling all you, vote for Dominic Romaine as the social media officer and vote for Donna Cox as the lady vice chair. And you see all the other names that call the independents, or they go and watch the list, look it over, find out where all the polling station is, and make all their choice wisely. Because it's about getting the PNM back up and running quickly, but in a way that it have a love and a feeling inclusion. Right now, you ain't feeling that you're included in this one team PNM. And a team can be built if you have everybody thinking the same way. That is not growth. That is comfort. And that is really fanaticism, whatever the damn word is. Oh, you know what I mean? In a team, you must have diverse ideas. You don't agree with all, but you need them because people think differently. And if this one thinks so, it has hundreds of people who think like that person and vice versa. So don't count out people. I want everybody to think like Ole and feel that will make Ole strong. It will not. That is just confusion, bacchanal and mayhem. Because all of them can be thinking the same to build up PNM. You have to have diverse views. Because the person who cleaning the street could give you an idea, you with your doctorate and this and that you even think about. Because that thing called common sense, practical working knowledge and experience. And sometimes somehow all they have is book sense and position sense and the common sense where the ordinary man have, who have a degree, who have a pass, could sit down and run rings from order when they sit down and have a conversation. The verbs green, mispronunciation of words like myself. But when you listen to them, you can get an idea to say, I didn't think of that. It's not an island. This one team, or there's not an island by all itself. Because if there's no people in the People's National Movement, and there's not people for the movement, all they go have is national. And it wouldn't even be national, because all they only want one type of people. So we go have the spirit of Eric Eustace Williams and all those who walk before us and build the People's National Movement will not allow all you to mash up this party. Let me say it again. The spirit of Eric Eustace Williams and all those who walk before us, Ms. T. Miriam McDonald Davidson, Kamala Den Mohammed. And so many others will not allow all you with only one team to mash up the PNM. The PNM will prevail. You think when they say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM and it shall prevail. You think it's just words? that's not connected to something. The PNM is an institution. Well, let us bring back the party schools, bring back the learning, bring back the party groups. It don't have to be like how it was a long time. It can evolve, but that's where the connectivity is. Not going to party group and tell them, oh, I'm going to be a humble leader. No, I will listen. I will listen because I couldn't. That is not what bring back no people. Acknowledge that Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was not perfect, but he did good for the party. Admit that Mr. Manning was not perfect, but he did good for the party. George Chambers, God rest his soul. Dr. Eric Eustace William, God rest his soul. Talk to the people. Don't go balling, you're humble and no. Talk to the people. Raise that fire in the belly that they want to be part of this movement. Right now, people are disenchanted. They are weary, but the nastiness is seen every day, and it is coming from the one team. It may not be them specifically, but those who support them. People are weary. They call me when the day comes, they're tired. They send me messages, they're tired. They're weary. They don't accustom to what they see in here. They're crying out. They love the PNM. They want the PNM to do good. They don't hate all you. But so they're pushing and keep pushing. And only pushing people away. Sit down and dig on yourself. Will it be worth it at the end of the day that we be saddled with a government now? Ask all yourself, all who went around and tell people don't vote for the PNM. Ask all yourself if it's worth it now. When we hear like they're looking at it, let's to bring back them cut notes. In this country, that could spell real problems, so we enter the national world. The international community can look at it as if we are okay with white collar crime. Ask all yourself if it is worth it. When this government go to the IMF, in my opinion, they go there. Ask all yourself if it was worth it to go around and tell people don't vote for PNM. Ask all yourself the amount of people getting laid off from the job and losing their work today. If it was worth it, going around and tell people PNM could sit this one out. Ask all yourself if it's worth it. And if all I could say yes, it's worth it, all is animals, all is not human beings at all. Ask all yourself. There's a conversation going around. That's how real this is, you know. It is alleged that they want to make Dr. Naim Dolly Gaspi. Is she? No, because she going up as lady vice chair. I don't tell Ole already, don't vote for she. They want to make, it is alleged, Laurelie Lezama a deputy political leader. It is alleged they want to make Robert Lee Hunt a deputy political leader. Only think about that. Think about that. Eh? There's allegation going around. Think about that. I want to tell you all, have a blessed weekend. Sunday's the election. It have the list all over the independent. Look at them, choose the best. But I'm telling you two to definitely choose. It's Dominic Romain, social media officer, and Donna Cox, lady vice chair. And there are a lot of other potential. I was told, don't let them split the votes for, I think it's general secretary, if I'm mistaken, where Roger Boynes is. They're saying vote for Roger Boynes. That's what they're telling me. They tell them, they say vote for Roger Boynes. They say, now I tell you, it's not me. I tell you who I tell them to vote for. I tell you who they tell me to tell all it. Sanji Buju. They called Paula Hopi School. They called Dr. the lady, I see she riding a motorbike or something. She, hello. I can't remember them people name and thing, but all they go, look at, make the right choice. This is about party right now. This is about understand the two differences. This is about party right now. You have to get the party in order so that they could start to fix country. Because about getting back into office. Don't get caught up with position and who offer you and who didn't offer you. That thing will bring back PNM to office if only put the right people on the central executive. So people, have a blessed one. Love you all. And thank you, Bounce Up Central. Thanks for all those who continue to stay tuned in and locked in to Let Me Talk meeting. We will talk Monday, God's Spain. Have a blessed one. Love you all for the support always.
Dauntless Defenders of Good Governance. Join host Fearless Warrior and the Dauntless crew every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Be sure to tune in as we continue our coverage of the PNM internals and interview candidates vying for a seat in the elections. Join us as candidates enter the Dauntless Groff, the Gael Ring of Fire, and face the Bounce Up audience crew. Watch as they run the Dauntless Gauntlet to be judged. Will they get blah, bus head, a big up your whole self, or just a mat? Join us to see who will be the next warriors to dare to face the fire. Come armed with the burning questions you want the candidates to answer. Watch the show live on our Bounce Up Central platform and social media channels, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Keep the conversation going before, during, and even after the show. Chat in real time on our 24-hour live chat on Bounce Up Central at bounceup.com. Bounce Up Central, the community platform that's we Ting, created for we, by we.